I'm at Bosky Dell Natives today with Lori. And Lori, you are surrounded by native shrubs today. I love that because that's you.
True.
And so I think that we need to have some native plants that are kind of in the middle ground. Like we have trees in our gardens, we have perennials and native perennials and things, but we need something kind of in the middle. So you're solving that problem.
Well, I have here a collection of some of my favorite shrubs. This is the blue elderberry, and it gets flat white blossoms a little bit later in the spring, and followed by kind of a deep blue,
They're pretty,
almost frosty looking berry that is edible to both people and wildlife. There's another elderberry as well that's called the red elderberry. It looks just like the blue elderberry, except the berries are red instead of blue. And the red one gets its blossoms earlier and its berries earlier. And we have specific birds that come to visit the nursery only when the elderberries are ripe.
oh, that is cool.
And so if you have room to have both a blue one and a red one, you can stagger the bloom period and the berry season for the wildlife by doing that. Both are really beautiful and easy to grow, and they don't have a really aggressive root system. The blue elderberry prefers more sun,
Okay.
and the red elderberry is fine in full sun or partial sun. This
What is this down here?
is called high bush cranberry, and it's another shrub. Its growth habit is similar to that of a vine maple. It's about 25-30 feet tall upon maturity, and it gets covered with these beautiful white blossoms, and then these turn into a cluster of shiny red berries that are edible. And I like them, but not everyone does because they do taste like a cranberry. It has the bitter flavor of a cranberry. I like them. Once you eat the first one is a little bit shocking, but then after that, you know what to expect. I do think it'd be really good to make a sauce out of it too.
Ooh, yeah,
But the
definitely.
birds do eat them. It's the last berry that they eat. So if your high bush cranberry loses all its berries right away, you know that your garden needs more fruit-bearing shrubs.
Definitely.
But
And this is deciduous too.
it's deciduous,
Okay.
beautiful red color, doesn't have an aggressive root system, beautiful along a fence line,
Nice, nice.
and easy to grow.
Good. And then mahonia, which is an evergreen.
So this is Oregon state flower, and this is the tall Oregon grape, Mahonia aquifolium, and it grows in sun or shade. And the books usually tell you it'll get about 6 feet tall, but on my property here, I have some that are about 15 feet tall. But you can prune them any way you like. They get a beautiful yellow blossom that hummingbirds, bees, and butterflies all love, and then a cluster of blueberries that are edible to wildlife and people. And you can make a juice out of it or a sauce.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that.
Yeah, and the root is medicinal as well.
Wow, so many parts are so interesting and useful.
Yeah.
And then what's next?
This is red currant. This is one of my favorite shrubs. It's really easy to grow, and it's a must-have in every garden. And it has a beautiful pink blossom. The color can vary from white to deep pink, but quite often they're a deep magenta pink. It's a hummingbird magnet, and it grows in sun or shade. So in a perfect world, you would have one in the sun and one in the shade too. And
You see it hiking when you're out in the woodlands. It's really beautiful.
and I'd say the mature height on it is about 10 or 12 feet tall. And it's well behaved. It doesn't colonize, it stays put. So it's another good one on the edge of the flower bed or the backdrop or along a fence.
Nice. And then a rose. I don't think about a rose being a native.
Well, Oregon has 4 native roses. This particular one is called the woodsy eye rose, and it likes to grow in the shade, and it gets tiny pink blossoms, and then the blossom is replaced by a rose hip that's really high in vitamin C. You can make a tea out of it, or you can simply just eat it,
Nice.
or you can just leave it for the birds.
Oh.
But the roses colonize, so you want to make sure when you plant roses that you have the space to accommodate them. Otherwise, it becomes maintenance. It's a great plant for erosion control because it does colonize, so it would hold a
Nice bank.
hill in place. But if it's a little tiny space, you might find it to be more than what you bargained for.
Right. So you included a perennial with this mix, and so what's that one?
This is called goat's beard, and not everyone is really familiar with this plant. It's a shrub technically, and it dies all the way down to the ground in the winter, and then in the spring it erupts out of the ground with bright red tips, resulting in this beautiful blossom that is just beginning to open that resembles a goat's beard.
Oh, fun. And so all of these plants are native to Oregon, which is so cool, and having like a little native garden in your area, in your backyard, will attract different animals. And so you've designed this really cute little display. So tell us about your little habitat there.
Well, I have chipmunks, and I love my chipmunks. And we also have cats here that are predatory, and so I wanted to create a habitat where the chipmunks could escape the neighborhood cats. So I made all these hidey holes, and I put in hollow logs and boulders, and so I call it the Chipmunk Fort. And the chipmunks love it, which is really fun, and we get to see the chipmunks over there every day, and it does seem to be providing them with protection from predators as well.
And we saw so many birds too, because the birds were coming, stellar jays were coming. It was just lovely. So, you know, coming out to Bosky Dell is like being in the forest. So come on out and see all these little areas, because you can take that ideas home. There's lots of picture opportunities here. So go to gardentime.tv, we'll click you over to Lori's website, and you can find out information to come out to Bosky Dell Natives. Thanks so much, Lori.
Thank you.